Who's doing? You're doing that intro. Yeah.
Bodhisattvas? Bodhisattva? Bodhisattva? Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm waiting for a few folks. So please gather yourselves and prepare for the next cool activity. Okay, we're going to wait a few seconds. If you're in the back, if you could wrap up your conversations and head over, we are getting ready to start. All right. Okay, perfect. So as we transition from the last class, so as a reminder, the last class we really explored thinking about beneficial conduct, thinking about the importance of that virtue, and thinking about how that virtue may relate to our medical mission. And for me, medicine and health is really important and really meaningful for what I want to do, because that is something that I am personally invested, and it's something that I think affects everything that we do. And I wanted to share a quick kind of quote with all of you. It's from a Greek philosopher. It says, "When health is absent, wisdom cannot reveal itself, art cannot manifest, strength cannot fight, wealth becomes useless, and intelligence cannot be applied." And I think that's that really encaptures why health is so important, and why in Tzu Chi we often say that health is so foundational, and that those who protect health not only safeguard lives, but they safeguard humanity, and they safeguard humanity's ability to practice compassion, to practice care. And so with that, I wanted to transition to the next kind of exciting session that we have, and I'll have Marco explain a bit more. Thank you.
Testing. Is this clear? Okay. let me put here. Testing. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marco Tzu, and I'm from the Midwest region. I'm serving as an advisor for the youth volunteer over there called Tzu Chi at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And today I'm here to help facilitate the class Dharma in Heart and Action. So Tzu Chi has volunteers worldwide, and throughout this retreat we heard about the 4 all-embracing virtues, and those 4 all-embracing virtues are the virtues and the teachings from our founder, Dharma Master Chen. So in this class we want to explore how different volunteers in different missions of Tzu Chi. The 4 missions are charity, medicine, education, and humanistic culture, how they apply these teachings in their daily lives working on the mission. So without further ado, let us first welcome the panelists. Okay, it works. Our first panelist is a manager of emergency disaster services, and he's also the associate director of charity mission. Let us welcome Brother Curtis Singh. Our second guest speaker comes from the medical mission. He is a dental professional, and he started as a youth volunteer at the University of California in San Diego. This is Brother Jack Pan. Our third guest speaker is Sister Paula Wang, and she's from the education mission, and she's the principal of the Tzu Chi Great Love School. Our fourth guest speaker is from the Humanistic Culture Mission. He's helped with the documentation team in Austin and Houston, and also the advisor for the youth volunteers. Let us welcome Brother Jason Chen. So I guess to first get to know our panelists a little better, let us start with the first question for them to describe the work that they do in their missions, either charity, medicine, education, or humanistic culture, and what inspires them to start this work. So maybe we can start with Brother Curtis.
Good afternoon. I think the inspiration for me, for myself, has to be back to 2001. When I started to decide to join Tzu Chi as a volunteer back to San Jose, Northern California, is because I sent my daughter into our academy school. Then normally Saturday morning after I sent her to the academy school, then we just go home to do our own things, right? Grocery shopping, clean up the houses. But I found out there's so many volunteers. Doesn't matter their kids or their grandkids is in our school, but they do dedicate their time and their love and their effort to educate my kids to be a better person. So that's my first inspiration. Why I led the other people to teaching my kids to be a better person. So I decided starting to learn this organization. Then I started to do the volunteer. Okay, the parents, the school parents starting to involve with the academy school. That's the first inspiration. Then after I joined the headquarters in Southern California, okay, then I figured out we need to do more the charity work into our community, local community. Then we can find out the joy, okay, the reward is, okay, how to cultivate myself. Then I get in there and more and more and more to see lots of the volunteer to see inspire me. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Curtis. In fact, I know a lot of Tzu Chi volunteers who started Tzu Chi because they send their children to Tzu Chi Great Love School or Tzu Chi Academy. Let us ask our second guest speaker, Brother Jack Fan, what brings you to Tzu Chi initially?
Well, I'm a dentist by trade, but I joined Tzu Chi before I was a dentist. When I pretty much, as soon as I got out of college, when I was applying for my university college degree, my family were really pushing me towards in the field of medical care or healthcare. But I did not really know if that's what I really wanted. So after graduating from UCSD, I took the opportunity and worked for the Tzu Chi Medical Foundation. And at that time, I realized that there are a lot of volunteers who are passionate, who has a heart full of compassion that really want to serve people, but they don't have the technical know-how. So what they rely on is people with the background training to guide them, to lead them. So I feel like that is somewhere that I can show my expertise. If I become a doctor, I can join in these outreaches. So not only am I helping people, I'm also helping the volunteers. So that became my inspiration and the field that I work with.
Thank you, Brother Jeff. How about Sister Paula?
Hi, everyone. Thank you. All right. The first reason for being a volunteer for Tzu Chi, just like Brother Curtis, I took my daughter over here for Tzu Chi Academy, and I saw a lot of elders. They were there doing something, and then that's the work. They can make money for the Tzu Chi. So I was like, I was young. How come I didn't do it? And I let the elder people doing it. So that's the first reason inspired me. And then before I took over the Tzu Chi grade level preschool teacher, director, I was working for the bank for 13 years. And before I worked for the bank, I was a preschool teacher. I was a kindergarten teacher for about 10 years. So when Tzu Chi trying to build out a school 3 years ago, and then I was the first person. I was the person that think about it. However, at that time, I was work for the bank, and I was like, I don't have a reason to quit my job. And then, but there's a good reason, because my bank at that time, they are trying to sell to another company. And I was like, right timing. So that's the first promise. I told the brother GN, say, okay, I will do it. Based on my experience on the education, because I was Tzu Chi Academy, from the event director to instructional director, and then to assistant principal, principal. And also, I'm the Tzu Chi commissioner. So that's the reason why I say, Houston want to build a Tzu Chi grade level preschool. We have better make it grow up. And that's the reason why I think as a commissioner, I have that kind of responsibility. And I just, okay. And I told myself, we have to make it a success. And so far, we have, this is our third year, and then we have 85 kids already. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Paula. And I think it is a very good example of showing great vow. Once you have the mindset of trying to basically dedicate yourself, the affinity will come eventually. Thank you, Sister Paula, for sharing. Brother Jason, how about you? Can you describe how you, yeah, I can show some of the pictures. Yeah, so. So, can you describe? Okay, I can keep playing, okay. So these are some of the pictures that Brother Jason sent as part of the documentation team. And do you want to show this video first? Can we play this video?
While in Austin, upon learning from VOAD in Texas, a shelter lacks blankets and food, local Tzu Chi volunteers immediately deliver 60 blankets and hot food to them.
Upon learning from Texas VOAD that a shelter lacks blankets and food, Austin Tzu Chi volunteers decided to give out 60 blankets.
Drive carefully since it is raining heavily, with water accumulated in some places.
Along the 80-kilometer journey, volunteers have to take the long route because of road closures. Therefore, it took them more than an hour to get there. Their gestures of kindness have warmed the hearts of the disaster victims.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. So as you can tell, my primary function in Tzu Chi is a documentation team. And I work in the three-in-one area. My primary role is taking video and photo of all the Tzu Chi volunteers during any event that happens in, doesn't matter it's in the local chapter or in Houston. Like I'm from Austin, I come here to support this event. The reason inspired me to continue to work on Tzu Chi and work on the past is because I think Tzu Chi to me is a family. And when you are in a family, you always want to document the wonderful and the precious moment of all the family members in your family. You will document your children, you take photo or video of your own child. Tzu Chi is a family to me. That's why I would like to spend my time dedicated to Tzu Chi and then document all these precious moments of all the Tzu Chi volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Jason. And when I look back at my pictures taken by my father and mother back in the past, I'm really grateful that they do take some pictures of me when I was young. So I think it's really important. So our next question, actually, I want to ask Sister Paula. In your work in the Tzu Chi Great Love School, how do you develop connections among the students, the parents, and the staffs in the school?
Okay, actually, it's very challenging. However, based on master's theory, I was just try to work with, and then sincerely, when parents come to visit, and I will ask parents about a lot of questions about how their child like, how they act, so we can smoothly take over the kids. And then when the kids come to my school the first day, I will observe the child, and I took a picture, and I send a photo to the parents. We use a cell phone. I send a photo to the parents, and let the parents know, okay, your child was doing good, or your child needs some time to get used to it. So parents was really comfortable to put the kids over here. And then I will talk to the parent. When the parents come, when the kids were doing something good, I will tell the parents, oh, your child is doing something so good today. And then if their child was kind of misbehave, I will tell their parents, well, he is having a good day. You know what? But just one thing maybe we need to improve. So parents really appreciate, they know their kids, what their kids were doing over here. And then also, parents, I will give parents advice. I was like, oh, I saw your kids kind of like I was watering and then kind of sneezing. Do you think he may have an allergy to something? And then that clicked the parents. So they took the kids to see the doctor, and which was true. And they come back to me, oh, Miss Paula, thank you so much. So that's how I pay attention to their child. And then they do appreciate. And then later on, day after day, and they trust me. So every time when they have something, they come to me. And then be honest with you, so far my school opened here now for 3 years, I do not have a complaint. I do not have a complaint. Thank you. And then when during the holidays, and then parents will give the teachers a gift. At the first year, we don't have that many kids. We start from 13 kids, and then we do not have the parents kind of like give all the teachers the gift. But start from last year, when we had a big holiday, I have many parents. She gave the teacher, their child teacher, a gift, and also she brought a big gift to me. She said, Miss Paula, this gift is for all the teachers. So, to me, it's like I recognize all my teachers. And for my staff, I told my staff, I do not need a star teacher. I need all the teachers to be the star, shining our school. So nobody is trying to, try to kind of standing out and better than anybody else. Everybody are the best one over here. So we need to work together as a team. And I'm there for you. If you have questions, just come to me. I will do my best to resolve your issue. And then if you have anything, just let me know, okay? And then if you have a family issue, you want to let me know, I'll be there for you. I will be a good listener. And then I won't release any information if you don't want me to. So I get a fully trust for my staff. So I have to say, my staff, they are very loyal to our school, not loyal to me, okay? Loyal to our school. And for my children, when they come, this is how I build out a relationship. Okay, the new kids, I will go to their class. I will say, how were you doing today? Most of the time they will cry, okay? I say, it's okay, it's all right. And then I will go to the classroom very often. And then always I will say, did you like this one? Did you like that one? So I let the kids feel comfortable with me. And then day after day, and when they come in, I will always, at the front desk, I will greet the kids, greet the parents. So every time when I was, on my vacation or something, and the parents will come to me, oh, my child wants to say good morning to you, but they don't see you. So that's a relationship, and the kids build out a relationship with me. So every time when I say something, they will say, oh, thank you, Miss Paula. And the good thing is, and also, I tell the parents, okay, we are emphasizing character education. So if your kids do something wrong, not right, we will redirect right away. So that's the way we help the child to memorize which way is right, which way is wrong. And then parents trust us. So now we have a really good reputation. We do not do marketing. However, I had so many kids come in, parents come, they told me, oh, you know what, I heard my friend told me, and you guys are really doing a really good teaching the kids, and also you guys redirect the child, make them know how to behave, how to show their respect, and know how to sharing. And then so my child is really naughty, so I'm going to give my kids to you now. Oh, thank you so much. All right, that's how I rebuild a relationship. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Paula. I think she's a prime example of the loving speech, which is one of the 4 all-embracing virtue that we learn. And it is really a good example of how when you show appreciation to the students and the parents, they will show you back through the form of, saying thank you, or basically giving back, basically, to the teachers. I think, thank you so much for sharing. Our next question is for Brother Jason Chen. We know that you are an advisor, basically, for the Youth Volunteers, or Tzu Chi in Austin, Texas. Would you mind describing how you work together as a family with a team of advisors in Texas to guide this year's Youth Volunteers?
Okay, yes. So, as you know that in Tzu Chi, there are so many different roles, so many different functionality, and I believe if you involve, you can definitely find the one you want to do. And then Austin, Texas, happen to have a UT Austin, which is a big college town. And we have a Tzu Chi club set up in UT Austin. So the way what we have done is we have a group of advisors, 师姑师伯, all Tzu Chi brothers and sisters. And Jack is one of us too. So we are not just get 师姑师伯 involved. We also get the alumni that who just graduated from the college involved too. So we call them 师 brother, 师 brother. So as you can tell, since Tzu Chi needs everyone's input, you cannot just do a single thing alone by yourself, and you will be very tiresome. That's why in Austin, we have 10 师姑师伯 and 10 Tzu Chi brothers and sisters. We form a family of 5. In each family, every year we take in about 10 to 20 Tzu Chi members or Tzu Chi club members. We invite them to our family to have a dinner with us. We invite them to come to family before the holidays. We let them know that we are there for them if one day they need some help. And then my most, I would say, guide. I would say you don't guide the Tzu Chi volunteer. You actually, with them, I will become a family to them. I treat almost all the Tzu Chi kids like my own children. So I always call, that is my goddaughter, that's my godson. And I believe many of you are in place. And then as long as you give them your heart, they will return the same thing back to you. I don't believe I guide them. I believe I try to show them as a role model that how I am. I use master's teachings to try to set up myself, my family, to become a role model to them. Let them think that, hey, Sipo, one day I want to be with you. I want to have a wonderful family like you do. And then that's why I would say we all will need to start a Bodhisattva family, and then start it with yourself.
Thank you, Brother Jason Chen. I think I can relate with that quite a lot because I was an advisor at the UIUC chapter of TCCA as well. And at one point, I was the only advisor over there. And then it was really very tiring if there's no team working together. So I think this idea of working together as a family, that finding someone you can trust, you can work together with, it really helps alleviate the burden that we have. Thank you. Our next question goes to Brother Curtis. We know that you work a lot with the charity work of Tzu Chi, working with different charity organizations, governmental organizations, and also sometimes go to different places for aid distribution, where there are different cultures for people receiving this aid. In your view, what is the most important thing in building and maintaining relationships with other people?
As working in the headquarters charity development department for 10 years, I gradually learned how to represent Tzu Chi, to introduce, to expand it more, the Tzu Chi's action to the mainstream. I think I like to rephrase this question for all of you. Once we wear the Tzu Chi uniform, that means you represent Tzu Chi in certain point, certain level. We have all the responsibility to let this country's mainstream, the Caucasian, any racist people, to better understanding what we are doing. So we always base on the 4 basic elements: the gratitude, the respect, the tolerance, and the understanding. Based on these 4 elements, we need to show up, to show what we are doing, what you are doing. Then we are not just doing the things, and we have to explain, communicate to those partnerships. Because basically, Tzu Chi Foundation in this country only 27 years. with our yellow face, with our different Asian ethnicity, with our have a heavy sense of our English, people are wondering what you are doing. What is your organization really do? So my suggestion is besides our action, we always need to communicate, coordinate with our partnership. For instance, after the Katrina, we spent lots of money, we spent lots of the manpower are doing the first stage in emergency disaster relief work. But after 3 years, maybe nobody remember the Tzu Chi. No, maybe nobody remember the blue and white uniform. That's sad. That's sad. But we have to continuously, the first stage, second stage, third stage, continuously working through those partnerships. I really admire this time the Hurricane Harvey, the Dickinson mayor, the Dickinson whole city. We've been there 2, 3, 4 times. Sister Julie and her team are working so well and so deep with that city. Until this year, after 6 months, okay, we still have a very good relationship with them. Why? Because we continuously work with them, continuously introduce ourselves, not just in that emergency stage. It's continuously going to the mid and long-term recovery. So my understanding is basically 4 things. No matter what you did, no matter what you are in which field, using the 4 things. Gratitude, respect, understanding, and the tolerance more. Try to expand it, Tzu Chi's brand to this community.
Thank you, Brother Curtis. I think it's a very good point that we talk about giving as the first of the 4 all-embracing virtues. And these 4 elements that Master Cheng Yen keep on emphasizing, gratitude, tolerance, respect, and understanding. These are the things that allows us to make good connections to other people as we are giving, so that other people can trust us and also allow us to give. Right? Because by giving, we are also receiving something, as we hear from the 3 spheres of emptiness in the class today. Thank you so much, Brother Curtis, for sharing. The next question goes to Brother Jack. I remember when I go to the dentist, I'm always very scared. And then I remember hearing the sound of the drill. Sometimes, I don't go to dentist because of that. So with that in mind, what is the mindset that you bring, when working with not only the patients, but also with volunteers as you are doing medical outreaches?
So the mindset you're bringing to them, it comes in twofold, but it kind of stems from Brother Jason's talk. We see it as family. Because number one, when you're in outreach settings, you're working in a completely unfamiliar situation. This is not your clinic. You don't know the patients. You don't know the equipment. And you can't control a lot of factors that you usually have control when you're in a clinical setting. So what you do, you rely on the volunteers to be your backup. They will interview the patients based on the questions, so you get a kind of an understanding of their basic healthcare needs and how to take care of them. And these volunteers will also help you set up and help you, clean everything. Because I can't do everything myself. I mean, I'm a dentist, but I'm not going to be able to take a patient in, do all the work, clean the instrument, and then bring the next one in. If I do it that way, I could probably only see 2 patients a day. So you rely on your team, like a family. And how can you trust your family? You lead them so that you know their abilities, and you lead them by showing them what they need to do, and you trust them that they will do it to your specifications. At the same time, not only you're relying on your team as a family, you also see your patients as a family. Because just like Marco said, a lot of patients coming in to you with a fear. Like, when they see a dentist, what do they remember? Drills, pain, right? Something's hurting. Very rarely do people come and say to you, I have a great day, I just want to see a dentist. Usually, a lot of times, trust me, a lot of times I see the patients, they'd be like, first thing they come to their mouth is, I hate seeing dentists. I'm like, wow, good to meet you too. So you see them as a family. You understand their need, right? You understand that they're in pain. You understand that they want to get this taken care of. And you just have to do it in a way that it is acceptable, at a pace that is acceptable to them. So, based on their medical history, and the results that you find, you make a plan that is suitable for this patient, and you treat them based on the care. I remember one quote I heard from dental school is that nobody cares about how much you know until they know how much you care. Right? You may be the most knowledgeable, you may be the #1 dentist in the world, but if you come off as arrogant, nobody will come and see you. So unless you can make that connection first, then you will not be able to change your lives. So that is the mindset I'm trying to bring when I'm doing all this work.
Thank you so much, Brother Jack, for sharing. I like the quote a lot. Nobody cares about how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think this is a very good example about how you mentioned that you are putting together a plan to care for the patients. And it is a very good example of treating the patient as a family as well, because you put so much effort in trying to make sure that they are well. And basically, it's a beneficial conduct if I would try to classify it under the 4 all-embracing virtues. Okay? Now that we know our guest speakers a little bit more, let us ask a little bit more difficult question, okay, about challenges that they face. Okay? So in working in your missions, are there any challenges that you have encountered in the work that you do? And if there are, how do you overcome these challenges? Maybe we can start with Brother Jack first.
Okay. Well, a lot of challenges, as a dentist, my #1 challenge is patients' fear. We mentioned before, they are really fearful of seeing a dentist. And for example, when we're doing our outreach in Dickinson, a lot of these fears stems from that association with pain, because whenever they see a dentist, they are in pain. So they see dentists, in their point of view, it's dentist equals pain, even though I didn't do anything yet. So that's #1 thing. But you cross that hurdle by reaching out, by making sure that they understand, and making them know that you are working with them. You're not there to cause more pain. You're there to actually relieve the pain, even though the process may be a bit more uncomfortable. And so these are when you're working with adult patients. A lot of times with children patients, I think Sister Paula can relate. Sometimes, no matter what you do, they just cannot work with you. So what do you do with that? Well, you kind of distract them, right? We redirect their attention. We show them things that they could rather be focusing on, other than this hurts and you're doing something to them. So they associate this experience with something that they enjoy. So I think that's one of the ways that we can combat that challenge.
I will also ask, you mentioned before that you went for international disaster relief in Bolivia, if I'm not mistaken. Can you describe what happened there and if there's any challenges?
So when I was first working with the Medical Foundation, they had a flooding in Bolivia. And after the charity team came back from the distribution, they noticed that a lot of the people there in Bolivia were lacking medical care. So we were organizing a care team to go there and to see what we can do to help. Now, after I arrived, first of all, at that time, I never organized international outreach. The first outreach I organized when I was working was kind of a follow-up for Katrina in New Orleans, and that was in a pretty established clinic that we're just borrowing their facility. So honestly, I don't really know what I was getting myself into. So after you get there, you really see the situation. It's like, we were in a school, and the school, it's pretty much nothing but 4 walls, a really scratched up blackboard and some very old looking table that look like they've been retired from 10 years ago. And this is going to be your clinic for the next 3 days. So we set everything up, we saw the patients, and you realize the disparity, the difference between the U.S. and the people outside the U.S. Because for some of these patients, they only saw one doctor in their life before. If that is the person that brought them to this world. Okay, whether that be a midwife, a shaman, or whatever, or OBGYN, that's the only doctor they see. So how they take care of themselves? They take care of themselves based on traditional medicine, traditional methods that may or may not have a whole lot of science basis. So when you see them, it's like, okay, where do we start? And well, with modern medicine, we're able to do a lot of the things and with a big team, we had, I believe, like almost 100-something volunteers joining us, including doctors and volunteers. We also have doctors in South America that were joining us then, and they were great help because we don't really speak Spanish. So those that can speak Spanish were really great help. And then, so together we were able to provide this care and to overcome the language barrier, to overcome the need to satisfy the need for healthcare.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brother Jack, for sharing. I think it is a very good example of how when we are working together, if we go alone to a disaster relief area, by ourselves, maybe our strength is not enough. But as you said, when there are 100 people, some of us complement the skills that we do not have, like speaking Spanish, and together we can achieve so much more. How about Brother Jason? Is there any challenges that you face?
Well, I think I am the lucky one. I always say when I carry out my mission for Tzu Chi, I have not run into any challenges. But in the other way, I think my biggest challenge is how do I overcome myself? That is my biggest challenges. Just for example, this morning, I walk in 3-in-1. My sister walked over and said, Brother Jason, these are the video clips from this morning. And I load it up and said, oh my God, there are 200 of them. They are 30 gigs of data. Then I have to view through all these 200 clips. And this is only from the morning. But you can tell my biggest reaction is, it is very difficult. But that is my biggest challenge to myself. How do I overcome these challenges? In Tzu Chi, we are lucky because we have our masters. I use masters' teachings to help me out to overcome the challenge I face, not only in Tzu Chi, also in my daily life. At my work, I apply master's teaching to myself, and I do things that made me think that I don't think there's any challenge. The biggest challenge is here. And then the Jin's algorithm, the one I like the most is, if you don't think these things are difficult, it will never be difficult. But if I just look at these 300 video clips, or even it will be 500 by the end of the night, I will never be able to get things done. So I would say, in Tzu Chi, it benefits yourself. That's why I continue walk down this journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Jason. I think I can relate when you say that, when we have so many tasks lining up before us, sometimes it can feel very overwhelming, and there's that energy barrier. And I think one of the Jin's aphorism I like is, I'm not sure whether it is Jin's aphorism, is Master always say, just do it. So if we know there are so many things, as long as we go through the first, second, and I think the rest of them will be easier to come. Yeah. How about Brother Curtis? Do you have any challenges?
Yeah, talking about the challenges, there is always challenges. But same thing, I like you think about your challenges. My experience maybe not fit on your shoes. As a challenger, being our Tzu Chi life, if you are simple volunteer. Maybe you just think about the coordinator give me an order, then I just follow the order to move the table, to put the tablecloth, or put the flower in there. But as many individuals, when you are doing things, there always be challenge. Be as a charity department for 10 years. Basically, charity things involve two categories. One category is a general charity program, like a homeless, like a senior center, like a food bank, like even we supported the free clinic. Another category is talking about the disaster relief. People always want to hear about the disaster relief. But in our daily life, I always asking our volunteer, how much work, the charity work,